coming to the new topic. We'll keep it crisper and shorter because it's about startups, which we think are going to be the best out of the whole Surge lot. And there are a lot of great startups. I think everyone's great. It's what caught our eye while we were going through all the ones which got selected in Surge.
I hope, Manik, we're not talking about ours.
And I'm going to give it. Chirag, wait for your turn. I know it's just been a while. Like it's been 30 minutes since you've not been a moderator. It's fine.
Chirag is like Neil Patrick Harris, who's not allowed to host a event. Who can't?
I'm just too excited, guys. Today is an exciting day.
Absolutely. So let's just come in and discuss the top two startups, which I think in the group chat, we have already discussed the top two startups. I'm going to leave one on Ayush. I'm going to leave another one on Chirag or Avinash, whoever one wants to go ahead and start and discuss what you guys think is the best one. And then I can fill in with my comments. It's on you, Ayush.
Okay, so just to give a basic background, so Surge is the program by Sequoia. So they run this program like cohort of 10 to 20 startups who are building in India or Southeast Asia. So they fund 10 to 20 startups twice every year during their programs. And these founders can be based from India or Southeast Asia, solving different kind of problems. So Surge recently announced their 7th cohort. And interestingly, this cohort is going to be in person after a very long time, because past few cohorts were online because of COVID and pandemic across the globe. So this time they have announced around 11-12 startups. I think I couldn't go through all, but there's one startup that I really liked about was Pixcap. So Pixcap is a startup that is giving tools to do 3D animation, like using avatars, using 3D icons, 3D figures to a non-designer. So I'm very pro creative economy. So anything that allows people to create things and like increase their skill set is what I love about. So that's why this startup came to my radar. Pixcap gave me some like highlights of Canva, where they revolutionized the graphic making creative side of the industry. So I think Pixcap can do a lot when it comes to building animations without knowing any tool or any design. Not coming from design background, they have a lot of templates. They have a lot of built-in 3D figures that you can just pick and drop, and you can play around and create new videos. So yeah, that was interesting for me.
Yeah, I want to pick it up from there. I was just going through my old journal and I realized that in 2020, actually, I have put up a idea in my journal, which was around Canva for videos, because that was a time when all real stuff and all brands were starting to investing a lot of money in video production. And I was like, the speed at which I was using Canva for designing the graphics for anything, from investor deck to website to even normal social media post, I was like, it is so much easy now. Like nobody can ever say that they are waiting for design to come in, but they still do when the video production happens. So I think hands in, it depends a lot on the product design. It's a pure product, and really excited to try my hands on it. So yeah, all I think is definitely one of the most interesting ones.
I just wanted to give a special mention to one of my childhood friends who got selected in Surge this time, Shiva Dhawan. His company is called Attentive. I was just checking it out, and they're actually building. They also got funding from InfoEdge, as I believe. These guys are building a vertical SaaS for outdoor services in the American economy, like lawn movers or other contractors, essentially. So they help in landscaping. So I'm actually rooting for him. Fantastic guy, fantastic company, and I'll also ask him to come on the pod. Let's see if he says yes.
Absolutely, we should definitely invite him. I mean, amongst all the SaaS-based companies which got acquired or which got acquired. Sorry, where is my mind going nowadays? But all the companies which got funded and acquired because of our common friend who got acquired and the conversations we are having. So I'll just leave it out that for everyone else from the pod. But is Unravel Carbon? I think that's the startup which I really enjoyed. which is basically it's a YC startup. So it's already been doing well. It's an entrepreneur first YC startup. And for people who don't know Entrepreneur First, it's a place where a lot of founders, single founders, solo founders go to find their own co-founder. So these two people came together, found a co-founder in a program, went ahead and did YC, and ended up doing now being part of Surge. And these guys are figuring out AI automation tool to make specifically for Asia to make carbon credits for all the companies. And the whole idea of just how important the climate change is and how do you kind of tackle it specifically in the Asia continent region where it's still not the most important aspect of it, where we don't put it as much on the higher priority, specifically even in the biggest industries, right? Like forget the SMEs to do it, MSMEs, even at the big corporates and like the Fortune 500 companies, it's not the at the topmost priority. For a startup to come in and get funded in that field kind of gives me a little bit of a hope, and at least I feel really nice about it.
So what do? They basically track carbon emissions throughout supply chain and then give you credit, or what?
So basically, they look at your essentially they take data about what your carbon credits looks like. Yeah, I think Avinash has thought about all ideas we can think of between the past 2 years. But one of the things that has actually helped is that they go into processes and figure out what all different changes they can make to make it more carbon efficient and even give out carbon credits. That's what it looks like on the forefront of it. I haven't deep dived into understanding where their spend is, how they are figuring out which category they are working with, and how do they actually reduce the carbon credits. But on the foresight, it says it's an AI tool which helps you improve your processes. So this is where I think they are coming from.
Yeah, just on the carbon credits front, I think the next 10 years belongs to climate change startups. Like, I know it's a temporary problem which will be solved in the next 20 years, probably 15, but the kind of next wave which I predict we are going to see is of a lot of climate change startups. Just like, and these guys came back in 2008-ish, 2007-ish when the hype was there, but a lot of them failed. But I think now the time is right somehow.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah, so I'll go. So I definitely agree that this climate change, it's first of all, it's not going to be solved. It's going to be controlled because the things are still going to be happening. Pollution and everything else is still being happening. So it's going to be controlled and managed. So startups are going to come in that direction. So absolutely. And of course, it's going to be legacy again. Like some startup who not keep on inventing themselves will definitely be disrupted by someone else. But one thing I want to make sure, when I was going through the search thing again, is ideas comes very handy. Like I was telling, right, these things have come to me as well. But was I enough excited about them? Was the main criteria. Was I really invested in so much that I want to solve them up? And are these founders really invested in this process to solve it? That is the main criteria. So actually, I was going through the profiles only, and would be looking into an eye, how much they talk about it, how much they actually are vocal about it. So yeah, I think that becomes more crucial when you are actually working on at a seed
Yeah.
stage specifically.
Yeah, but I also think like Avinash, when people like us, right, when we've been doing startups since a very long time now, probably 10 years now, right? As we enter our 30s, right, and this is just a fun question for all of you. Of course, our abilities to build successful startups is massively high because we have seen it all, done it all, and we have seen the cycles. What I think is how I just can't wrap my head around first time founders in their 30s who are getting into the whole startup journey because they have this fear of us losing their stable life, which they and the salary is a drug hit, which always comes at the end of the month. So, what do you guys think? Like, how do you guys predict a lot of if you have to unleash a wave of mature humans in the 30s doing new startups? How do you guys think that can be enabled, or do you guys think that it's the same route, like collect salary, save, have an amount of savings, and then do the risk taking? But boom, we are like family shit happens, and then it's very tough. What do you guys think?
So I'll go. So I think there is definitely a considerable drop in risk-taking appetite as you grow older, right? If you can take from example how callously you used to drive in your teenage or in the early 20s, definitely reflected from the way you're driving itself. So
I know how callously you used to drive. So, dude, this guy was killer, man. I mean,
If only,
I used to fear coming in front of his car.
I have something to add on Avinash driving. If it was F1, I think if it was go-karting or F1 was actually that big of a sport in India, I don't think Avinash would have been a founder. He would have been an F1 driver.
yeah, I think I was not given a direction in my early age. This thing should have been more nurtured. But anyhow, definitely the risk appetite definitely goes down. But at the same time, I think maturity also kicks in which if you are taking that punt of that's why if you look at all the accelerators or all the investors, they definitely have this question that have you joined full time? Have you taken that punt before we take a punt on you? Right? So if they have done it, they will tend to be more realistic and they tend to be more quick in the decision making because they always feel there's a timer running. So I know friends who left job. I know it's difficult, but those who have done it, they have left jobs and then they have given themselves a particular time frame and they want to try. Of course, nothing goes as a plan, but at least they become more better planners. So it's a trade-off on both the sides, I would say.
Yep. Very interesting. Perfect. Anything else to discuss, Manik? Or should we call it a day?
What are you guys reading these days?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm reading this a beautiful book called The Future of Humanity by Michio Kaku, where he's talking about how the next generation businesses of space exploration are going to be built. Where one of and it's a bloody crazy idea. In one of the chapters, he tells that what if there is just a business which would nudge an asteroid, and there's a massive asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, which would nudge an asteroid. The asteroid would follow the path and enter the gravitational field of our moon and actually become a satellite of the moon, and we would plant our probes on the moon, and the moon will become like a harvesting station. So the probe will go from the moon to the asteroid, come back, go to the asteroid, come back, mine resources, and that would essentially help us build a base on moon, because moon's rocks are not very friendly for construction. So bloody crazy, insane book. He's my favorite astrophysicist, Michio Kaku. Check it out. But I love his simplicity of thought. So he's very similar to Neil deGrasse Tyson, just more on the astrophysical side. That's what I'm reading. What are you guys reading?
I'm reading this book called Novacene, which is like the coming age of hyperintelligence by James Lovelock. So this was one of the book recommended by Grimes on one of the podcasts by Lex. So it's more about climate change and what we are seeing right now happening across in the universe, and it talks about like one of the major issue that we face or we are going to face right now in the future is the heating up of the earth. So I mean, we need to control the temperature. If you are able to control the temperature, then the earth will be able to take a better care of itself than if we let the temperature rise. So I mean, by temperature does not mean global warming, but overall temperature of the earth, and how humans will give birth to these hyper intelligent creatures who are going to save the earth and not like destroy it further. So very interesting.
You're supporting Elon Musk. More and more we should procreate.
No, I mean, how does that come in?
How will the new birth of a more intelligent species will come then? How will we evolve then?
I mean, hyperintelligence species are those AI species.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking about biological evolution of how we're gonna get more.
Yeah, you need to think.
No, but there's a great blog by Sam Altman also on there's this topic called the merge.
We will discuss it, guys. I think I'm just going to cut it short because we will discuss. There are 2-3 different books on it. There's Life 3.0, which is a beautiful book. If anyone's not read, it's written by an Harvard scientist. Chirag just mentioned another book. In another future series of podcasts, we will even write our book recommendations for people who would want. Avinash, 2 lines of the books, and then I'll.
Yeah, I'm reading this Theory of Fun. Thank you, Manik, for sharing that book to me. It's pretty good. It's by Raph Koster. And one-liner is, I think, understanding games actually helps us understand ourselves. It's much more than fun. It's basically more about the psychology. So I think, thank you for sharing this book, Theory of Fun.
That's fantastic. Manik, I wonder why Avinash is reading The Theory of Fun.
I
He
have
never
no idea.
reads. He never reads his own book. He just reads what someone tells him to.
Agreed.
Recommendations.
I'm a guy.
But that
I'm a guy
also.
of recommendation. Yeah.
Avinash, request the audience to give you recommendations.
No,
He'll take it. He'll take it.
It needs to come from a personal source, guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm gonna put like a sprinter because I have been reading 3 different books. But more than the books, what really intrigued me is a blog which I read by Matthew Stewart. He's a philosopher, 58-year-old philosopher living out of America, who was basically who studied philosophy. After a point, started his own consultancy company and works on that. And his blog, which was written in 2005, is one of the highest rated blogs. It was an article written in, I think, one of the newspapers, which turned into a blog and blah, blah, like the whole thing, which discusses the management sciences and how it came about. And after a point of reading it, I've started delving more into it, and I understood that management science is as much a science as like a lot of other sciences, because there's no actual proof to management sciences. The science word is just added on to make it credible. Like a lot of things have been added science word to make it credible, but there is no actual science behind it. There is no factual correction of it. It's not like physics or maths where it's a theory that can be proven or disproven. It's a lot more anecdotal and a lot more case study driven, which will work for some cases, which will not work for some another cases. It's not even as logical also as we think about. And his whole hypothesis that by believing and creating the whole degree of an MBA or this, the whole idea of management as a course, we have just dumbed down an entire generation. If we had only taught them more philosophy, economics, mathematics, or something like a core subject, it would have created a far better management system than what we currently do, because then it's just lacking. And that kind of intrigued me. And from there on, I started looking at his books, started looking at different places, and understanding what's the next book that I want to pick up on. But other than that, this is the article which I wanted to discuss, because this is something which I spent an hour researching on. I'm reading 2 other books. Theory of Fun is something which even I'm reading. There is also another book which has been something which has been pending along for me. Is that there are rules and and that's a book which I read once in a while. I don't really read it a lot often. It's a collection of articles by this really nice physicist. I've forgotten his Cario Rovelli, who has written there are there are places in the world where rules are less important than kindness. It's collection of his essays which puts philosophy and physics people together, and I think it's beautifully written. Each article is unique in its own sense, and I will have to thank Ayush because it was a birthday gift a couple of years back, which I have taken time to read onto or get onto, but it's just been really interesting and insightful to read it.
That is so cool. That also makes me remind of Exhalation, putting philosophy and physics together. It was a massively philosophical book, to be very honest, and I actually put it on my Instagram a couple of days ago. But that is well, Ayush recommended. So Ayush, good recommendations coming from your side, huh?
Thank you.
Mine was a gift, Chirag. Just saying, not
Fine, bro. Fine.
recommendation.
I know.
Anyway, guys, I think it's been a
What
lovely podcast.
What Manik is trying to say is like gifts are pending for this.
We know that it's on the way.
I think that's going to be cut out of this show because not everyone else needs to know that. But thank you so much, guys. Thanks a lot for coming here. And hopefully you guys enjoy the podcast as much as we enjoyed doing it. Would love to hear your recommendations in all the comments and personal messages, whoever you want to message out of the lovely 6 people who are generally coming on the pod. Anyone wants to add anything?
Nothing. See you guys.